Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Game Theory Podcast. This is episode 44.
Wow.
That's right. We're super awesome. This is about JRPGs, creativity, and zombie bachelor parties.
Yes, in reverse order.
In reverse order. Zombie bachelor party? What do you mean? Wait, first, why are we together, and why is the sound quality so crappy?
The sound quality's crappy, and we're together because we both transported ourselves to Arkansas for the wedding of one of our best friends in the world. Friend of the show, JT Eberhard.
He's getting married. In fact, he's getting married today, and we are here recording before the marriage because we're traveling.
Yeah,
Sunday's going to be
no
traveling
other
day.
time to travel.
So we're also recording our beautiful faces for you, but you're not going to hear that on the podcast. You only see that on the YouTube channel, and that's only, why would you go there?
It's terrible. No editing.
It's not edited. It's horrible.
The sound quality's even worse.
It is. It's even worse. So, yeah. Anyway, zombie bachelor party. What?
Okay, so
This is a story, so buckle in.
JT Eberhard, my friend.
For the show. And
Yeah.
longtime friend. Like, he's been our friend for,
Yeah, we've
Since
been
we were
to
like-
school together.
yeah, like 10, what,
12,
13, 14,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, we got engaged about a year and a half ago.
We did. To a real hussy.
A real piece of work.
Oh, no, she's awesome. Very awesome. Very cool
She's
girl.
been on the show before in our girls'
Yes.
gaming episode, Michaelin.
Yes.
And we have a lot of time to prepare for this. But,
Year and a half.
yes, but we are just concerned. Not our problem.
What are we supposed to do?
Right.
We don't have anything to do about this. So we just sat on our hands. And, you know, I mean, we check in every once in a while with the best man, who is his brother, and he is also a friend of the show. He was on the zombie episode.
Resident Zombie episode, Sam Eberhard.
Yep, he's an expert on these things. It's ironic, because anyway, for a year, like, you know, kind of keep checking in. We're like, well, you know, what do you think, man? He's like, oh, I got some things working up. You know, but
Some ideas cooking.
Yeah, but it's a long ways off, so who cares? Well, you know, it's starting to get closer, and it's, you know, summer starts, and we're like, dude, what's going on? And he's like, still got some things. We'll say. But then remembered, Tim is a perfectionist. He's like Mr. Polish. He makes everything look amazing and is awesome.
He puts those little tweaks, those little tiny details
Yeah.
that you might not necessarily notice, but subconsciously you're picking up on.
Right.
Like when you're watching a movie and you're like, that was a good quality movie, but you can't put your finger on it. People like Tim are on the crew,
Yeah.
like making sure everything is just right.
Yeah. He's got an amazing talent for it. But unfortunately, that makes him move at a snail's pace, and he almost never makes deadlines as far as, like, you know, informal things like, you know, tabletop RPGs, little projects, or
Things that aren't necessarily due. Like if it's a school project, you can get it on time.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's self-motivated, like making your own video game, like a big project that he'll just never finish.
He's got a lot of those, like, on the back burner, right? And so we were concerned. We were like, wait, this is one of those, right? This could be one of those. So we ended up kind of stepping in and saying, you know, what do you got? Let's get in a Google Hangout. Let's figure this out. Anyway, the funny thing is, you know, he kind of had a different idea. Ninja Bachelor Party, which is kind of what I did at mine. We thought it could be better. So we started throwing in some ideas, and we get the idea of the zombie bachelor party, right? Well, what does that mean? Did you get a zombie cake and a zombie stripper? No, we're not generic and dumb. What we did was we made a live-action type zombie apocalypse.
Because what does JT love? He loves The Walking Dead. He loves role-playing.
Two things, yeah,
And he loves acting.
and acting, and he likes singing. But how do you work that in a zombie apocalypse? Anyway,
You got 3 out of 4.
yeah, 3 out of 4, and atheism. Which, I mean, where's your God now? I think we
Right.
said that. But anyway, yeah. So we crafted it in such a way where it was pretty awesome. So what happened?
Okay, so we're at they have a resort by a river. Really fancy
Middle of
place.
nowhere.
Yeah, middle of nowhere, out in the woods. We have a cabin just for the bachelors, for the groom. Yeah, not the bachelors. I'm the only bachelor there being thing. For the groomsmen and for the wife and for JP. And we bring all through. Okay, so the week leading up to this, JT's kind of picking up that maybe something's happening. Maybe the best man's dropped the ball. Like he knows who his brother is. He knows he's not good with these big deadlines for projects. He's just like, hey man, just don't sweat it. Like if you see Tim, tell him not to worry about it. Like all I want to do, really, honestly, is just play some board games with my best friends.
Yeah.
He's a big gamer, big board gamer.
And we were actually staying with JT this whole time, and we were leaving a lot, but we always had cover stories. You know?
Right.
Like we're
Working
me
on
and
a
Dave were,
podcast or
yeah.
doing something.
we're going and checking out the environment. We're writing scripts and stuff. Like we're figuring this stuff out. But
You know, like
as far as he knows, we're like, oh, we're going to podcast or whatever. So he's really not sure, but he has a suspicion.
Right.
So we're playing board games, like being like, oh, we're just hanging out, drinking, playing board games. That's all, and it's fun, and that's what he said he wanted.
Yeah, and we were having fun.
Yeah, we were having fun. But then Tim's like, hey, can you come check out my Doctor Who outfit? Because we're doing a Doctor Who wedding. I'm a big fan. They're a big fan. But anyway, so he walked back there, and bam, the lights go out. We get the circuit breaker.
Yeah, we turn all the power off of the cabin.
And he's like, what happened to the lights? And we're like, I don't know, man. What's going on? And then one of the groomsmen, we had him. We instructed everyone beforehand, so I realized this is something we did. But he goes, I'll go check the circuit breaker, right? Like, I'll be right back, kind of thing. So he leaves.
Yeah.
And then
he goes figure out what's going on. Yep. And then Tim on his computer, he's got a broadcast, like a news. He turns on the news.
Yeah.
And it's like this fake news network called ANN. Yeah. And I don't know. You probably found this on YouTube. I don't know where he got it.
Yeah.
No. It was like this report about this virus that was like causing the dead to come to life and attack the living, and they were talking about like genetically modified foods, like these Frankenfoods might be responsible, or perhaps
terrorists.
Yeah, it could be Al Qaeda, and
like all the scares.
And
as we're doing this because it's buying time for this David Berger, one of the groomsmen, not David Drake, co-host, but the other guy, to go out there and then get make-upped up. So next thing you know, he's pounding on the door. Boom, boom, and like, what is that?
Oh, and the best part is while we're watching the news, there's these gunshots going off in the background.
And we didn't stage that. We don't know what the hell that was. It was like in the middle of the night.
Fireworks or something, but it was just like boom, boom, and G's looking around like, how would they have planned that? Like, he knows something's happening that Bachelor Party related, but he's like, how did they do that?
What was that all about, right? But we're thinking the same thing. But we played it cool. We were like, what is that? What's going on? People shooting guns?
Is that a gun?
Yeah, because we were actually curious. Whatever. So
So you hear like a banging on the door.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'll get it. And so I opened the door, and what do you know? It's David Berger, and he's back to life. He's got blood all over him. He's a zombie, and he's coming at us. So I push him off, and I grab a bottle of alcohol, and I break it over his head. It explodes, and he falls down, and he's in a lot of pain. Now, but here's the twist ending. It's actually a sugar bottle, because JT's parents are in theater. They're in a local theater, community theater, and they produce plays. They have just a bunch of these props, and they gave us one. And that was one of them, and it was a liquor bottle, and of course the bachelor party, so the liquor bottle was sitting around, so it blended in.
So we just grabbed it, and it sounded just like.
Oh, it does. I thought I heard him. I looked back like 3 times. I was like, dude, because he went down hard. He was like, ah, and he went down, and I was like, what?
Just lying on the
and there's glass everywhere. Yeah, he's lying on broken glass.
It's actually made of candy, but it looks like broken glass.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt at all. He's like, I barely felt it. I almost didn't know when to fall. I was like, oh, you played off masterfully. But he gets right back up, of course. It's a bottle, right? And you got to shoot in the head. So we run to the car. We jump in. We're like, get in, go. We start the vehicle.
He's pounding on the
windows. JT's trying to figure out which seat to sit in for some reason, so he can't drive yet. And then, he gets to the door. The thing starts pounding on the windows. We're freaking out, right? And, finally we pull away and we drive off. What was that? What was that? So at this point, the bride-to-be, she's our coordinator, off-screen coordinator.
Yeah, she's the one who's supplied, because she knows the wedding list, right?
Yeah.
She knows who's in town for the wedding, and she's been helping me create a Facebook group, but to organize all the zombies. So now her job, we've got the zombies in town. Her job is putting makeup on them and putting them where we want them to be.
And how many. We're like, here's when you need them, here's how they need to be, here's what they need to do when we get there.
Here's when to move them.
Here's when to move them, and we'll create time. So we created like little times to let them move from scene to scene, so we were away, things like that. Like we masterfully, I think we pulled this off.
Considering we've never done anything like this.
No, nothing.
It was pretty well
done. But she did all that off camera, without a hitch.
Precision.
I mean, perfect. We were like 15 minutes late. That wasn't her fault. Like some of the people were still showing up, and getting makeup. So yeah, she did really well on her part too. So we start driving. We're like, we gotta get out of here. And what the radio broadcast I had on my phone, an MP3. His dad had recorded them.
Tim had written out these emergency broadcasts from like FEMA and the CDC and like the National Guard.
Yeah.
And so we were getting these broadcasts, and his dad had like recorded them with like these accents.
Remember he's in theater, right?
Yeah. So he's doing this like southern accent, like this is Commander Sanderson calling,
and it was good enough where JT didn't know who it was.
Yeah, he didn't recognize his voice.
So we play it. I thought he would recognize it and be like, oh hey, loved ones, you know, like loved ones are helping us out, and and it kind of makes you feel all warm and fuzzy.
This is your life, and all your friends come out of the
exactly. Yeah, because his friends are zombies, right? But it also has the cover story of, well, they're here for the wedding. Of course, it's your friends. Those people around you.
These are the people who would be here because they were actually sleeping in the same resort.
So no matter how you interpret it, it's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. So we get to the first place, and it's like this little,
like a nature, like a wildflower trail.
Yeah, like a wildflower trail, like a walking garden. And so we get there and it's dark, it's a little creepy, and the cameramen were there, unfortunately, but they were like just standing there with their cameras, and we were like, oh. Are you guys taking pictures? You better get out of here. It's a zombie apocalypse. And
yeah, sometimes you see cars drive by, like going like back into the resort.
Into the resort, yeah.
And then Gigi's like, "Oh man, they're going right into the danger," and I'm like, "Oh, they're getting away from it."
Yeah, we constantly had to spin like
play things up,
random things. But we started walking on this nature trail, right? And because the National Guard folks said, "Hey, we did a supply drop, right?"
They give us coordinates.
Yeah, they give us coordinates, and we're going to them.
We're putting them in our phones, like we have like a Google Maps. We're like, "We're in the coordinates. Okay, we're getting close."
Yeah,
and we have a couple flashlights.
Yeah, and it's dark.
That's it,
and it's freaky.
There were flashlights in your car for some reason. Luckily,
some crazy reason. I must be super responsible.
You must be very responsible, Dad.
That's what it is. But yeah, so and they were like right there in the console.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless, come on, I could have them. So we start walking along this trail, and then we keep so up ahead there's a bench, and there's going to be an encounter, right? And so we keep having him look to the right. We're like, what is that in the weeds over there on the right? So and it works. He gets right up on this bench with someone laying down on it. We're like right up on it, and he puts his flashlight on the last second. And, so there was genuine fear. He was like, "What the?" Backs up,
and there's a zombie on the bench.
Yeah,
just like.
But he has a cap over his face, so it looked like a hobo. You can't tell if it's undead or what, right?
Yeah.
But so we should walk around it. Why wouldn't we walk around it?
Well, also in the zombie's hand or on her chest or something was a gun.
Yeah, it was a gun, and obviously this one it's like a Nerf gun.
Yeah,
it's called like the Zombie Slayer or something.
Striker.
Zombie Striker. Yeah, and so but because we don't want people to die. But and it's laying there, and he's like no, because our whole job is to get him to be
the hero.
The hero, yeah.
It basically is like if any of you have GMs, this was GMing in real time in real life.
Yeah. So we're trying to get him to say the right things. Like he needs to be the one.
Yeah, we're manipulating the environment and the NPCs, and we're trying to put him in situations to be the hero in the spotlight.
Yeah. So like like the one who makes tough decisions. So instead of saying like, "Hey JT, grab that gun," instead you're like, "Let's just go past." And
like, we're gonna need a gun.
Yeah. He's like, "No, we need that gun." And I was like, "Okay, if you think so." It's the illusion of choice. Go listen to that episode. And so he first he tries to get Tim to do it. He just tries to get someone else.
And it's like, I'm not touching that.
F you, man. That was your idea. You noticed it. So he was like, all right. So he gets up there, and he was supposed to get bit here, but we did a lone prodding, little Jim, behind the screen's magic. He's supposed to get bit because there's some antidotes to take later, but he didn't. So, and he doesn't give a crap. He grabs the gun, and his friend, right, because these are all his friends, starts sitting up and going, and he just goes,
yeah,
he shoots it right in the head.
He shoots it right in the head.
Yeah, no hesitation. Just sorry, bam, like boom, like point blank, like hard, and she slumped over and fell, and then we were like, oh, let's go, we start running, and then Michael had placed like one of the zombies out in the field too, so like, we see him coming, and this is the part where we teach him conservation of ammo because he raises his weapon, and we're like, no, you got to save your ammunition.
Yeah, like I don't think that one's noticed just yet.
Yeah, so that way he just doesn't go nuts and then waste it because we need him to have at least one bullet in the end
for the finale. So we find the next drop, and it's what was it?
Food and water.
Food and water, yeah. So like army rations, army surplus supplies.
And I use my army assault pack, so it looks legit, right?
Yeah. And we have glow sticks around that are the chem lights, so you can find them in the dark.
Yeah. So he picks it up, and we're running through, and he's keeping us in formation and stuff, doing hero stuff, and we're all like following orders, and we're like, saying the crap that we're supposed to say, like, I don't know, JT, are you sure? And like
what the heck is going on? Like all the zombie movie dialogue.
Yeah.
They don't know they're in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And people are coming back to life.
And they're obviously a foil to show the hero's heroism.
Yeah.
Right. So we're showing the doubt. He's like, no, I'm sure they did.
And I kept on being like, shh, trying to get like people to lower their voices because we're getting excited and talking, but we didn't want the police to show up like they always do when I play on Bachelor Party. They like 100% ears.
Yeah. 100%.
So I was just like, keep it down. But it was in character because you don't want to make a lot of noise when there's zombies.
Yeah.
And it adds the tension when people are like, shh, do you
hear
that?
Yeah. So the next location is, we basically get out of there, no hitch. And the next location is just off a dirt road right nearby. We're like, oh, it must have been the same drop, and it just got scattered, right?
Right. But it has no visibility of the road that we were on. So the other zombies could get in the car and relocate to a new place. So time for that.
Which is the function of that. Plus, we needed the next one, which is antidote. And so we were like, oh, let's put it over here so they can go to the next location. So we sneak over there and, run across the road, tactical formation stuff, like hero stuff. And then, we walk down the dirt road and, oh, look, what's this? There it is. There's the other drop. So we pick it up, and there's a letter from the CDC with legit, CDC, letterhead.
Yeah, one of Tim's polishes is you put, legit CDC letterhead on it, and instructions for how to use the vaccine. we changed it to a vaccination because he didn't get bitten.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, one of the things we had to say was instead of saying like take this once you get bit, we said yeah, like take this
immediately.
yeah, take immediately to protect yourself from this virus. It could be airborne. And they were of course alcoholic shots, right? And inside of like little like salt and pepper
Vials,
shakers
yeah.
that looked like with the labels ripped off, so it looked like vials. It was awesome. And we did different colors
Yeah.
of shots. It was great.
There was
we
the
like,
red
you
and the
take
green
them
and the
in
blue.
order.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
15 minutes, take another dose.
Yeah,
I took
so-
half a dose. I'm like, you gotta drink it all, man.
Yeah, because he didn't want to drink it. He'd already gotten kind of drunk at the free party, which sucks. But anyway, so well, we didn't care. It's a bachelor party. You're gonna get drunk. That's gonna happen. So everything's fine. So he takes the the antidote and everything looks good. And oh no, wait! As we're starting to leave, there's a group of zombies at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
The way we came.
But we have to get to the car.
Yeah. So we're like, oh crap! Well, maybe the other way. No, there's zombies that way too. So he had to decide, like first of all, don't engage all zombies, right? Because there's a group of 3. He could have shot them all, I think, yeah, but he would have no ammunition left.
For the rest of the night.
Right. So he, remember the conservation we taught him. He made the right decision and said, "No, let's just run around." So we run around, and they almost get us, and I do the classic like,
drop your keys.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, drop my keys, give me a light," and like they're looking
Almost
around.
trying to light.
Yeah, we're
and I turn it back to the guys like,
yeah,
close.
they're
Like
still
they got
coming.
pretty close.
Yeah, they did. They were shuffling fast.
I was like, we might lose a groomsman here.
Yeah, yeah, which we planned for. It's fine. But we all jumped in time. We made it, and they were like, "Go, go!" But I couldn't see where the zombies were, so I didn't want to like tear out and actually hit someone with the car.
So they're all like,
So it gave them time.
The car.
Yeah, so it gave them time to catch up. So they start hitting the car, and then as you drive away, one of their hands goes on the edge. It was perfect, and so we're all freaking out. It was classic. And we're driving along, and then we get another message, and
so we pull over and we listen to the message.
Yeah, and pulling over allows those zombies that just touched us to get to the next location too. But not. And I was like, wait, let's listen to the message and play it. And it's the same thing. It's just Captain Smith from the National Guard, whatever. And there's a supply drop. It's a Mark 19, which most of you probably have in the military. It's a repeating grenade launcher, and it clears huge swaths. You just put a lot of hate downrange. Let's put it that way. So that'd be perfect for a large zombie horde. Weird. So they were like, grab this, and we're gonna have an evac point, but you need to secure that location before we can land. So he already knows there might be a showdown.
Yeah, and so with this evac point, we need the grenade launcher. There's no other choice, but new problem. We know where the coordinates are. I'm leading us through the Google Maps. Like, I think we're getting close. It's coming up. And I couldn't tell where we were because it was so dark.
Yeah.
You're like, is it coming up? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. But my gas is low.
Gas is low.
Oh,
and JT's like, why are you out of gas? And you're like, yeah, we've been running back and forth to the resort. We've been getting ready for the party. Like,
I didn't know this was gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Who's prepared for zombie apocalypse? No one is.
Turns out not us. Not us gas.
Yeah. Which was, I'm not really full, I guess, but you know that. So so I turned the corner and
because he was in the back seat at that point. You couldn't see your console.
Yeah. So we turn the corner, and as my lights come around, there's this really creepy back section where they throw away.
Yeah, it's like a compost pile of store stuff, and it's super creepy looking.
It smells of the undead.
And all night we're seeing deer in the woods and in the underbrush, and animals making noises, and there's peacocks going in the background.
There's fucking peacocks there. It's a resort for fishing and hunting. And there's live peacocks.
Lots of peacocks.
I feel like wander around with men with guns. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, another weird thing is on the nature trail. There's shattered glass everywhere. Another good decision. And not from beer. It's like mosaic.
It's like they're for beauty.
Only and it's evenly spread throughout the whole thing. It's not just like at one spot, drinking spots.
So that was anyway,
whatever. Point is, we pull around and our lights kind of catch a zombie horde, and when my car dies, and I'm like, oh, that's it, man. We're out of gas. And you said that's fine. This is the location. But we get out and it stinks, and there's a huge zombie horde, and we're like, smells of the undead.
Yeah, there's 12 zombies just milling about, and we can see just beyond them the chem lights marking where the grenade has been dropped.
So our objective is behind a huge group of zombies.
And the way the it's like a video game, right, where you can craft the encounter by putting up fake walls, so you can kind of guide where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
The way it was set up is the only way they were in this little alcove, and the only way to the chem lights was through the zombies. There's no other way around it.
So we had scouted. We took hours finding locations, perfect locations.
Yeah, with forced decisions on them.
Walking through them.
Scenario.
Yeah, specifically designating. I felt like a director. It was really fun. We just got the job done. But anyway, I was really excited.
So
he
takes us behind a dumpster for cover.
And
he's and we were happy that he came up with the idea.
Yeah, because we already know how this has to play out.
Yeah.
Because we designed it. But we're like, what should we do, JT? And he's like,
do you think they'd chase one of us if we made a lot of noise?
And we're like, I don't know. That's a good plan, though, because that's what we planned.
Yeah, that's what we want
what we want you to do. But so then this is the part where we do the classic zombie dilemma.
Yeah.
We said I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can run. I can run. I'm a marathon runner. I can do this, man. This is my job. I'm made for
And
this.
JT's like,
He's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, JT, come on, man. He's got a wife. He's got kids. I got nobody. If I go down, like at least you're not gonna talk to his wife and be like, your dad's dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're like
And
the
this
kids.
this is supposed to be a dilemma where he's like, oh crap, we've got the guy who's clearly
Yeah,
suited
this
for the
is
job.
if any of you played the Walking Dead game, this is one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
which NPC is gonna die? Tough decision.
Yeah, yeah, or in, yeah, in movies, that kind of thing. So we were gonna do that, but
As soon as I brought up his wife and kids, JT
he's like,
got really fond of your
yep,
kids.
there you go.
During the dinner, he's like, your kids are so cute. I was like, I'm dead.
I stand no chance.
So as soon as we brought up the family, he's like, yeah, David.
Yeah.
And then Jeremiah's like,
No,
no.
and I'm like, no, hold on, because David, he's been drinking and he's gonna die clearly. I try to like pitch my point.
JT's like, no, man, you got kids.
And, so yeah, but we still turned to him and we're like, which one, man? And so, but he picked David.
Yeah, but then, like he tried to give me the gun, the only gun.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, dude, take this. And I was like, JT, there's like 14 zombies. There's 3 bullets.
What good would it do?
If they catch me, I'm dead either way. You can use it.
Yeah.
It's like I forced it back on him because he has to have the gun. He has to be the guy making decisions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's like, okay, and then
And then I tell him, I'm like, I'm gonna lead him as far. I'm gonna lead him into the woods as far as I can, and I'm gonna loop around, try and lose him, and meet you back at the car. And he says, if you're not back in 20 minutes, we're leaving you.
yeah,
Arbitrary decision.
I know.
We're not in a hurry.
Yeah, like, we can take time, man. We can wait all day.
I was like, understood.
Yeah. So David goes out, and from our point of view, we turn off our flashlights. He runs out in front of us. He's like, "Come and get it, zombies!" And he runs out. He's shouting and stuff, and they all start walking.
I'm waving my light at him, like a flare.
Yeah, he's running around, and from our point of view, he slowly disappears, like behind
And
some
there's
trees.
a little kid zombie in this horde, and she's like a little faster than the others, so she's like doing like a fast kind of like not full on run, but kind of a fast stumble run.
Yeah.
And the others are doing like the Romero shuffle. And so I'm thinking, I'm in character, and I'm thinking like, oh no, like if some of them straggle behind, they're gonna get my friend. So I've got to they're coming at 2 different paces. I've got to run in between the fast zombie, and the other ones, and get them all to follow me. So I'm just like, I'm dancing around this kid who's trying to grab me, and like, and I don't know what she's been told. So I'm just gonna assume she's a zombie and treat her like one. So I'm just jumping around, and then so anyway, I lead them off camera. Yeah. And that's the last you see me, and the horde follows.
Yeah, that's it. So then we take that opportunity to sneak up, grab the thing, and when we open it, Mark 19 is obviously not a grenade launcher. It's one of those like slingshot, like
giant slingshots, giant water balloons.
Exactly, giant water balloon slingshot things, and we a whole cooler full of grenades. They're grenade water balloons.
Yeah, they're water balloons that look like grenades.
Yeah. So we open it up. He's like, "What's this?" And we're like, "I don't know, man. Let's just grab it and go." And threw it in there and threw it in the back of the truck, and we're like, "What are we doing? Gas? What should we do?" And we were trying to get him to think of it, but he just didn't. It took a while, and it ruined the pacing. So eventually, I was like, wait, there's some farm equipment over there. Maybe we can check that, because there's some farm equipment just on the other side, and with the fence, farm equipment means maybe gas powered gas, maybe siphon it out. So he was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So we run over there, and he almost biffed, by the way. There was a huge thing of rocks, and he's running, and he was like, and he went straight forward. He almost destroyed his face for the wedding. He didn't know. Fortunately, he found him. We were like, oh, we thought he was going to die. We almost broke character.
Yeah, there were like a few places where they're like hazard, like barbed wire. We're like, we hope no one dies.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
But we walked across this trail, and it's creepy as crap at night. That's why we picked it. And walking along, and long story short, there's a lot of false stops and stuff.
Yeah, there's little fireflies coming out. Deer.
All kinds of things. It's crazy.
Peacocks. Yeah.
And it's just a bad ambiance. It's horrible. It's creepy. Yeah, it was creepy. And by the time we only had one flashlight, because David took our other one.
Yeah.
So we could only look in one direction, so it was that, like freaky kind of movement. Anyway, so we come upon, what's this? And they had put Kim lights around, and they went, there's a gas can by the farm equipment. Perfect. But there's a note under it. What? So we pull out the note, and it's like in a girl's writing.
Oh, Jeremiah was not a fan of this note.
I was not a fan of this.
I wrote this note. So it says, I don't remember the exact wording, but basically it was like, honey, I'm so sorry. We couldn't wait any longer. Those things are everywhere. And it's we're heading down to the refugee camp that FEMA set up. Kaylee keeps asking about you. Keeps asking where Daddy is. I told her you'd meet us there. Don't make a liar out of me. And it's like she wanted me to leave Brownie here to protect you. She's being so brave. And then we're leaving you this gas to either find a car or use it to barter a ride. But meet us at the camp. And it's like, I love you.
Yeah.
Please hurry. And then it's like signed Mary or whatever.
Something. And it was addressed to Mike. And so we were like, oh, that's horrible. And I'm like, and there's a little bit of blood on it.
Yeah.
And we were like, So we start, it was supposed to be a decision.
But JT was like total badass. Like when they found the letter,
Yeah.
he's like he has a gun,
And he pointed out, he's like, read the letter, go, read it out loud. And I was like,
keep covering us.
Yeah, I was like, good thinking. But this is supposed to be more of a dilemma, like okay, do we take this gas? And but you're supposed to take a second to be like, oh man, that's a family,
right? Trying to reunite the dad with the kid.
Yeah, he didn't give up. Like he was just like, because he was trying to he criticizes the heroes in like zombie movies,
like
zombie
Rick,
games, because they're indecisive, because they're showing the struggle, and so he was like making these hard decisions fast. He's like, whatever, just pick it up. And I was like, but there's family, man. Like, what if the guy comes back? I was like, maybe we should leave a little in a cup or something. I don't know. And he's like, just pick it up, go. And I was like, all right. So
yeah, he was being Mr. Decisive.
Yeah. So he was being everything he wanted to be, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's all about like hero crafting.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. It's about living out the fantasy version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So we move forward, and it turns out it was a good decision to take all the gas because there is a shirt that's torn to shreds with blood all over it. Tim just wrote Mike, like you wear a shirt with your name on it. But it's funny because it's kind of crumpled up, so you open it up, and as you slowly pull it apart, you're like, wait, there's letters, and then he was like, what does it say? It says Mike, and so you knew who it was. He didn't make it, and there's a teddy bear near.
Yeah, so even if you didn't have Mike on the shirt, there was a bloody teddy bear next to him.
Yeah, so he didn't make it. I hated that part. I punted that thing. And I was like, don't get a teddy bear, guys. It's safe. But they did.
Jeremiah, ever since you've had kids, you've been a real softie.
Man, yeah, it is. Like, you see those movies and you're like, no, that'd be horrible. But before I used to be like, I just shoot my kid, whatever. But,
did you first watch The Mist as a father?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was horrible.
Okay, so continue.
Anyway, so we ended up turning back and going, and we're looking for David at this point, right? We need to find David. We need to not David Berger, but David.
Yes, and I'm supposed to meet them at the car.
Yeah. So we make the trek back, pretty uneventfully. Tim is starting to act a little crazy because he got bit.
Yeah, like he'll run forward and just kind of kneel down.
Yeah.
Like about to throw up.
Yeah, and we're like, and of course I play my part. I'm like, Tim, are you okay? And I go up to him, not cheesy like that, I'm like, Tim, are you all right, man? And I walk up to him, close, and JT never stopped me. You're supposed to be like, no, give him room, but he just let me. And he wasn't gonna bite me anyway, but he didn't know that. So I get up close, and check on him, and he's like, yeah. I'm fine. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's wrong. I feel sick. I feel a little dizzy. We're like, it's fine. Let's just go. And we're like, you're not sick or anything, are you? And he's like, no. You didn't get bit or anything? No. Okay, we're probably fine. We just keep going. Yeah. And he's hiding the bite the whole time. You got that trope. You have to. And so we turn the corner, and we're back at the creepy, smelly place where my vehicle ran out of gas. But now we have gas, so that's good. So we turn the corner and turn the flashlight. We see my car. Yes. What? But David's next to it. Great, he's turned the other direction. What is he doing? And then we were like, David! We play it up. We start running over there, and we're like, oh my God, it's David! Come on, man, let's go, get the gas in the car. And just as I get close, though,
I turn around. There's blood all over my mouth, my face, and my shirt. And the shirt, by the way, the one I chose for the party, it says, "This is my lucky shirt," and there's a little shamrock on it.
There's blood all over.
There's blood all over my lucky shirt.
Yeah.
And they've got me makeup up now, so my eyes are sunken, about messed up face, and it's like.
Yeah.
Turn around and just like,
yeah. And so we're like, oh shoot! So we start running backwards, and I do the thing where I fall down, and slide on my butt. You know how they like scramble backwards on the butt.
And I'm coming at you a pretty good shuffle clip.
Yeah.
Like I'm not.
Because he's not undead. He's not fully undead yet.
Like I just turned recently.
Yeah.
So I'm just like. So
JT in a panic, tries to shoot him,
and it grazes me. So I just was like, I couldn't tell where I got hit because it was like they're Nerf guns, they're hard to feel.
Yeah.
But I knew it wasn't my head, so I went down. I combined to miss. It was dark, no one knew. So he shot. I went down, and I'm just crawling. Like I'm still I got my hands up. Like in the Walking Dead zombies that don't have legs anymore, but they still want to bite you.
Yeah. He's crawling towards him, so we can get past.
Yeah.
So me and Tim and Brian
run past.
We run past him. JT.
And so I'm crawling up there, and JT's looking down at me, and he just walks up. And he just looks down and says, "Sorry, man."
Shoots him right in the face.
Right between the eyes.
So David goes down, and I'm like, "What the f?" At the car, because I just started about to put the gas in, and he shot David. He could have clearly made it.
Yeah, or maybe cured me or something.
I know, right? We've got antidotes. Maybe trying to feed you one. I don't know. But anyway, so.
And then Tim's mad too, but for a different reason.
Yeah, Tim's like, "What the?" Because I'm like, "What? You just shot David in the face," and Tim's like, "What the fuck? You just wasted a bullet."
And JT's like, "It was a mercy kill. We couldn't leave him like that."
And I was like, "All right, cool." So we all get in the vehicle. Tim
Except
starts.
for me, I'm still lying in the gravel.
Yeah, he's dead. And Tim starts like laying back, and he actually closes his eyes at one point. And then, "You okay?" As we're driving, I open the windows so the air gets in. We're going to the last point, evac point, which is like a park with like kids stuff on it, right?
Yeah, like a playground. Because anything with that was once a place of children is creepier in a horror movie.
Yeah.
If you watch a lot of horror movies, you'll see a recurring trope is like daycare,
Places of safety are now
yeah,
unsafe.
and especially things involving children because it triggers our like people like this guy. It triggers their kind of like maternal instincts.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is a threat.
Yeah, so we get there, and we instructed everyone to hide behind trees, because there wasn't a lot there, but you did see a couple zombies. And you see
Milling about.
Yeah, just milling about, so we know it's dangerous. So we're like, we're going to have to get out here, get this thing set up quick, and clear this landing zone.
And at this point, before you get to the park, JT.
Oh, yeah,
something important.
Yeah, so we're driving along, we're all set, right? We got food, water,
grenade launcher.
Grenade. That's all you need. Also, loved ones. Wait, no, we didn't. So, like, at this point, we expected him to say something about it, but he didn't. So I pulled over.
We're leaving the resort.
Yeah, we're leaving the resort. We're good.
It's just been overrun with zombies.
And I was like, whew, man, you don't think I'd bring it up. I said something like, I hope everyone made it out okay that was in the resort. Hope everyone's okay, or something like that. Or I hope Amy made it, something like that. And then finally he's like, oh, and he goes, that's when he said, pull over. So I pulled over, and he goes, it's Michael in. And I was like,
Beyonce.
Yeah, that's kind of your wife to be. But like, I was like, oh no. And then he's like, go on, turn around, you've got to go. And I was like, no, I can't. Or Tim goes, no, don't turn around. And like, he snaps out of his, like, he was like, no, don't turn around, that'd be stupid. And I was like, well, no, maybe we can. No, each one of those resort rooms or whatever has spiders in it. We're dead if we go back.
The place is overrun.
Yeah, I was like, how many rounds do you have? He's like, just one left. And I was like, that's not enough. And I was like, wait a minute, though. These broadcasts over the radio, that means that every survivor will be headed that way if they heard him.
Right, because we just got an important broadcast about an evacuation.
And I was like, which one do you think is more likely that Michael would do? Hold herself up in a room full of possibly other zombies, or head to the evac point? How smart do you think she is? What do you think she's smart?
Like, if she's still alive,
yeah,
she'll be there.
She'll be there. And so he's like, you're right. Let's go. So we turn rev the car back up and go, and we're heading down the road pretty quick. With the windows open, because Tim's still up. Hey there, man. He's like hanging head out the window and he's lolling around. And obviously we know he's big, but we can't let on, and because that would be breaking RP. And so we're driving and we pull up to that thing. We see the kids stuff. A couple of zombies mulling about.
It's one of those like play areas with like a slide and a little house for the kids to play in. And
so we're pulling around, and we'd instructed everyone to hide behind trees and whatnot. So we didn't see a lot of zombies, but a couple.
Yeah.
But as we get out, or as we're driving by, this is funny. We're driving by, and so all of a sudden we see a light coming from in one of the little playhouses. Right?
Yeah.
The light's kind of flashing, flashes again and again. And JT was like, "What was that?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "God, don't stop! Don't stop! Those are probably bad survivors." And like,
right, you're familiar with the tropes.
Yeah, because I brought up the bad survivors once. Like, there was a car that started coming down one of the roads we were in, that one that David was at, and I turned around and said, because like the car should not be there, like for the zombie
Those
thing.
Are the park rangers.
Oh, because I ended up telling him, I was like, oh shit, they're coming after us. And I was like, who would be coming back here, unless it's survivors looking for stuff. Like I tried to put the idea in his head. It wasn't something we had planned for, but I thought maybe he'll suspect that. So it kind of backfired there because he assumed that's what the next one was. He's like, don't stop, it's probably dangerous. And I was like, yeah, it's that, or it's Michaelin. Like, and then he's like, yeah. And so like we stop and we get out, and then she plays the part perfectly. She's like, who is it? Go away. And then he's like, Michaelin? And she's like, oh, Jesus! She like jumps, like slides down, and they run, and they embrace each other. It's hilarious. And we're like, okay, and I grabbed the ammunition and the weapon and put it up on the park bench, and right then, just as they're just getting their bearings, like, what are we doing? I'm here for the evac, and then we hear, and there's like tons of zombies at this point. We had organized all of them to be here.
Yeah, all the zombies we could possibly transport are already all here now.
And they were hiding behind trees.
Like 20, 30, like there's a lot of zombies.
And we only got one flashlight, so we're looking at them kissing or hugging and kissing, and then you turn the flashlight, and they're just all over the horizon. And we were like, oh, and I was like, get it set up quick. And we tested this thing, right? You can hit things pretty well with it.
Yeah.
You can moderately. Couple test fire, you could hit a tree.
Yeah, it had a good 15, 20 feet.
Yeah, range. For sure. But for some reason, the first one JT grabs, he puts the balloon in, and he's holding the balloon, so it pops, and he's like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "Your grenade went off in your hand, man!" But he ends up kind of figuring it out. But he keeps, for some reason, something was wrong, or he was doing it wrong. They kept firing into the ground and into park benches. He was totally failing.
With no training in military hardware, probably what would have happened.
Yeah, with a real gun. So he ends up going. Tim just loses it. He's like, "Fuck it!" and takes the thing and throws it down and just grabs 2 handfuls of grenades and starts throwing these water balloons at because they're getting close at this point.
Yeah.
And And then, oh wait, I'm getting a broadcast. As we're chucking stuff, I was like, what is this? And I hold up my phone, it's got the MP3.
Yeah, the
and
last
it's like,
broadcast we got was telling us to go to the evacuation point.
Evac point. And this one's like, it's like, hey, this is we picked up the survivors at Alpha and Bravo, and we were at the Charlie one. We were supposed to go to the Charlie one. And it said, but we're full up. We got to return to base. And then it said, I'm sorry. In 48 hours we can send a new one, something like that.
It's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
God forgive me. And then like,
and I was like, oh no. No, and at the time we're still surrounded. I'm looking out of the cooler.
There's no evac.
It's a cooler full of grenades. But I was looking down our ammo, and I was just like, we're low on ammo. There's too many. And I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna choose how I go out. And I, because this is the trope. And I just ran into, and I jumped into them, and they, they grabbed me, and they were trying not to laugh, and I was like, stop laughing, because they didn't know I was gonna run and do that. And they started biting me, and I go down, and I was like, oh, this is brutal. This is horrible. Oh, someone shoot me. And and they eat me, and then I get up and I start walking. And they throw the rest they have, and then he's like, oh, we got to get out of here, we're getting overrun. So he goes to the vehicle, but I've got my keys, and I had locked the door, because I knew that he was going to do something like that. And he's like, oh, no. And he turned around, and he's like, where do we go? And then Tim goes, there's nowhere to go. And then he's like, ugh, and he falls over, and he finally died to the bite. And then he gets right back up, and he's like, rrr. And then I think JT at that point, he looks on his weapon, and he sees there's one round, and he's like, he gets it. He's like, oh, this is the scenario.
The final
Because we're getting right up on him. I mean, we're like, at this point, like 15, 20 feet away, maybe.
And just surrounded.
We're coming in quick, yeah.
A horde.
Because like we smell blood now, and like we're stumbling fast, and we're almost there. And he goes, it's Michael, I've got one round. And he looks at her, and she goes, I understand. And then they kiss, like, all passionately. It was amazing. As we're walking into zombies, they were trying to keep straight faces. I was like, this is perfect. And they were like, I was like, no, jeez. And they did. Yeah, they did. And then he just steps back, and like, as we're about to overtake her, he goes, boom, and puts one right in her head. She goes, ah, and falls back. And then we're trying not to laugh, and we're just like, raw. And then we grab him, and he just stands there, like, he's like, looking at her as we like just start gnawing into him. And at that point, it's like scene. We're like, we finally stop. We're like, JD, and we're already hugging him basically. So we just start hugging him instead of eating him. And we're like, patting himself. And I was like, happy bachelor party, bitch. And then like, oh man, it was great. At this point, it's revelry. Like we're all just like, oh, it's so good, it's so good. And I see the guy that I hit over the head with the bottle. I make sure he's okay, which he was. He's like, I'm really filled it. So it was amazing.
It was great. He was almost in tears at the end of that. Like
he was, yeah.
Best bachelor party conceivable.
Yeah.
For JT.
Of all time.
Like you may be able to plan a better bachelor party for someone else, but that is the best of all possible bachelor parties for him.
He's obsessed with zombies and apocalypses and survivor scenarios and heroism in those. So it's fun. So that was it, and then we went back to that place and drank some and passed out.
Yeah, finished the party out.
Yeah. That's what went on. Game 3 podcast. That's what
we've been up to.
We throw some epic shit.
So instead of preparing for the podcast, we did that.
Yeah. But
that was a lot like GMing.
It was. That was fun as shit, though.
Yeah.
That was fun to put together. It was fun to do.
It was fun to see it come together.
Oh, man, to see it happen. That's like when you finally run your campaign and you see the reactions of everyone, but imagine actually going and doing it.
And being able to, like, put out those unexpected fires. Like, oh, no, I didn't foresee this. And then that improv on the fly thinking, like, it's very satisfying
like
on a creative level.
Yeah, rather than the antidote to vaccination. And there was, like, random people wandering around occasionally. We dealt with them. It was fun. So, yeah, highly recommend it. Do something like that for your bachelor.
Yeah, don't just fly everyone to Vegas and go to a strip club. Like, do something awesome.
Yeah,
people will talk about this for years.
I remember at the beginning, at the night as we set up the fake bachelor party, and JT got there. JT went to the bathroom, and I turned around. It hit me. I was like, whoa. I turned around. I was like, everyone in this room will remember this day for the rest of our lives. And I was like, let's do this. Like, it was on. Because it is, like, everybody's going to remember that, even the zombies. It's so cool. So much better than just, like, a cake and some beer or whatever.
And maybe we'll go to the strip club and maybe we'll get super drunk.
We'll see some babies.
Yeah.
Except we saw zombies. So, highly recommend it. And if you guys want to hire us for your bachelor party, let us know. Contact us at the Game 3 Podcast.
Fly us out there. We will make it the best.
Yeah, we will.
We were buying supplies at the dollar store, like just like food packs and flares and stuff.
Yeah. And
the lady thing was like, what are you guys doing? And we're just like, oh, we're doing a bachelor party. And she's like, oh, do you guys have a blow up doll? Like, I know a guy who can get you one. And we're like,
no, we're gonna zombie thing. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I was just thinking to myself, I was like, blow up doll. Is that what people do at normal bachelor parties? Because we just do awesome stuff.
Yeah. We do awesome stuff. We make people look awesome, which is, the idea is to make him look awesome on his night.
Right.
So it all made sense. It fell together, and it played out. So, there's gonna be some video up of it. We'll let you guys know where to find it.
Oh, right. That's the other thing is one of the groomsmen had been filming the
Like
pre-bachelor
Cloverfield style.
Yeah, Cloverfield style was like, everyone's having a good time. We're playing board games. He's like zooming in on the cards.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Click. What's this?
And then the rest of the night, he's got this camera. Like it would die sometimes.
It
He'd
did.
get back on.
We
So
didn't
it's
get
gonna
all
be
of
kind
it.
of spotty, but we got a lot of it, and he's gonna edit it together into kind of a Cloverfield found footage movie.
Yeah.
So we'll put that on the internet as soon as he's done with it, and you can see what we're talking about. It was great.
Yeah. You guys will love it. Hopefully, I'm gonna love it.
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
But
so that's our intro section.
yeah, that's pretty long, but hopefully you enjoyed that. We could not tell that story, and I'm sure you guys would have been curious if we ever brought up later, like, love your bachelor party. We won't get into it.
Right.
Now we can reference this episode.
It did vaguely relate to gaming.
It did.
GMing stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Anyway, recent news.
Light.
All right, this is recent news. This is the part where we talk about things that are in the headlines. So, what are some things?
Well, interesting stuff happening. First off, let me get to my podcast recommendation of the week.
Oh yeah.
This one is actually, I have it pulled up on my phone here. The most recent episode, I was just listening to it, called The Geeks Menagerie. And this one, the most recent one is actually RPG Corner Return to TMNT. We were talking about Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
That whole episode.
Yeah.
They just did one too. And they've done episodes on Game of Thrones, Justice League, RPG world building.
Nice.
It's a kind of a comic book general geek podcast. Kind of like we are, where we just talk about general things with us. But this is the Metroid podcast. They'll have episodes like we do where it's just different things focused on. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just guys talking about stuff that we're all interested in, and really kind of going into how you could relate that to, let's say you're doing like a superhero RPG, and what lessons can you take from the recent Green Lantern movie? What can you take away from that when you're GMing your Green Lantern RPG or your Justice League RPG or whatever? What did they do right? What did they do wrong? So it's really fun conversations. It's found on the D20 Radio Network. So just
D20 family, which we are now part of.
Yes. So go to the D20 Radio Network's page, d20radio.com, and you can find that. Another great podcast. Such as our own.
Exactly. So, some of the things in the news, one of which is a psychological study. Yes, they do those in psychology. And this one this is my wheelhouse. It was about moral behavior. And first I'll tell you the conclusion they come up with, and I'll let you think about it for a second. I'll tell you the conclusion I came up with. The conclusion is, so the study did this. They had people go into a game and play it and do immoral behavior. I believe it was Flashpoint. It was a military shooter. And do immoral things like shoot citizens, things like that. And then they measured their pro-sociality afterwards. And they found that people were actually more morally sensitive afterwards. So they're more likely to do pro-social behaviors. Why do you think that is?
So
first, would you predict that?
That they were more morally sensitive?
Yeah, like in the real world.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have predicted that, because the common story is, you do things, you get desensitized to it, and you do them in your life. But
right.
With that, just so, like, now that you're telling me the thing, I'm like, oh, yeah, of course I would have predicted that because of this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking back on it, my idea would be that they would feel it's like a more heightened sense of, like, they felt that guilt for doing something immoral, and they're like more heightened to moral choices now. They're looking to avoid that guilt feeling again.
Right.
So they're trying to avoid that behavior.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's kind of what I was thinking as well, as far as how that works. It's you do something, you are invoked a negative affect, right? So like anxiety, a little bit of like, oh gosh, like dirty hands, and you're looking for something to read to get yourself a justification.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had the idea that oh god, what did they say was the reason? It was they had some real convoluted theory about why it worked. I'll have to come up on it in a minute. I thought I had it pulled up and I don't. But it was more of that social psychology crap where it's like, not all social psychology crap, but this is social psychology crap, where it's the idea that like came up with this big like model dealing with like how pro-sociality works, and then the fact that real world versus imagined, etc. But essentially I was just like, well, oh no, they thought in the long run people are more likely to be pro-social, so like maybe we should have people play violent video games like this or bad video games and make them more moral.
Oh,
and I was like,
that'd be like a long-term effect.
Yeah, they just assumed it. They were just like, oh, see, it causes this. And I'm like, first of all, correlated.
Yeah.
Second of all, and I'm not arguing that it's not causal, maybe it is, but you have proved or you've demonstrated it's correlated. First of all,
right.
And second of all, what you've got a short-term negative anxiety, right? Like negative affect that you're looking to alleviate.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking like a short-term
Yeah.
solution to a short-term anxiety. Like, why would you keep doing that in the future?
This is what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
people. Like media and or more importantly, like just crap social psychology, and then the media reports on it, so it's another layer of bullshit. And then you read it, and you're like, oh, well, they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, they do sometimes, but just I don't know what to say, man. That's my recent news.
All right, so I was listening to Cracked podcast. You ever listen to that?
Yeah, a couple times.
They are, it's it's a funny website, funny podcast, but they are really some deep thinkers. Like, they think very deeply about.
They can't be. They're funny, man.
Yes, funny people are never intelligent. Yeah, so the opposite is usually true. Anyway.
Wait. So you're telling me that like maybe humor is attractive to the opposite sex because it's a sexual selection mechanism? I mean, maybe it actually shows intelligence?
Wait. So humor by itself isn't useful on an evolutionary level to survival?
No, it's not.
Or at least not as useful as the underlying characteristic that's a symptom of?
Yeah.
Which is intelligence?
Oh, yeah, because intelligence can't be directly measured, so maybe that's why humor is attractive?
Maybe that's one of the mechanisms we've evolved to detect intelligence, so we can choose mates who will give us intelligent offspring and provide for us?
No, I think it's just silly people.
Okay. They're being silly. Yeah. So the crack people are being silly. And I forget which episode this was, but they were talking about how societies, like the goal of society since the dawn of time was to survive. Mm-hmm. And then once we get that down, we're going to start trying to maximize our leisure time. Mm-hmm. Like that's basically what we do as a species. We're like, all right, maximize leisure time, maximize leisure time. And eventually what we want to do is get to where few people have to work, if any. Like Star Trek Utopias, like how are they?
Yeah,
so
right.
It's like, oh, I need something replicator.
Right.
Like that's how we picture the future. Mm-hmm. That's the end goal. What they're talking about is like we're kind of getting close to that point now. Like right now, America as a society is at a point where we can support our population without everybody having to work.
Right.
And in fact, some jobs only exist to provide jobs. Like they're not necessary. We just don't need that many jobs anymore.
So you mean it could be automatized, but we're not doing that?
Like a barista at Starbucks.
Yeah, there are many of those stores now that have a barista machine called a super barista or something. And you just click a button and it makes your drink.
Yeah, and a lot of, like in Paris or Tokyo, a lot of the cities I've been to that are overseas will have, like, instead of giving your order at McDonald's, you just, with a touch screen, you tell them what you want, you go pick it up.
Really?
Yeah, there's nobody taking orders anymore. So basically, and it makes for an interesting dilemma because we have this kind of post-depression mindset of everybody should want a job, and if you don't want a job, something's wrong with you.
Right, if you're not working, you're lazy.
And we had a boom of jobs, so there were plenty of people, for a while, there were enough jobs for everybody. Like, unemployment was really low, and it's just like, oh, he just didn't motivate, he just doesn't want to work.
Right.
But that's often not the case. Some people, there's just not enough jobs anymore in society. We don't need that many jobs. Even with the baristas and the other jobs that could be replaced.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird shift that we have to go through society to be like, okay, not working is not necessarily immoral anymore because we don't necessarily, like, we've gotten to the point where we've always wanted to be here. We always wanted to be where people didn't have to work. And now we're like, you need to work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this weird, like, thing we inherited from the baby boomers. I don't know where we got it, but it's there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that all leads up to my news story. Remember those jobs I said were easily replaceable?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Long Now Foundation?
No.
It's like they're founded to foster long-term thinking.
Oh, nice.
And it's really cool. They just opened a bar in San Francisco called The Interval, and it's really awesome. Like there's like manuals of books. They have something called the Manual for Civilization, where like all the biggest thinkers will like put books they think are important for civilization that you know. Huh. Like let's say all books disappeared, we want to rebuild from these books.
Yeah.
So we've got like a whole bookshelf of just like, the best books ever written by like the brilliantest minds. And what's really cool is they've got
a copy of the Game Theory podcast, all of our episodes.
Yeah, all our episodes are backlog, clearly. Yeah. When you're rebuilding society, you want those. But in several months, they're going to have two robots, one that crafts drinks and another that writes down the daily specials on the...
Nice.
So basically, you used to be a bartender.
Yes.
That job no longer necessary. We have a robot for it now.
It's true. I did a couple little tricks, but robots could do better too. I dropped cups a lot. Yeah. I got in trouble.
So, robot bartender. That was interesting. We're coming into that utopian society where we don't need people to work as much. Good. It's going to be interesting to see how we deal with that, whether we keep doing the judgmental or if we're like, okay, you people who are working, please engage in, whatever.
Yeah.
Enjoy the society we have built.
Yeah. That's good. Good for them. Anything else?
Well, just a quick announcement. There's a speed run thing going on called what was the name of it?
Oh yes, summer.
Summer Fun Run.
Yeah. Shoot. You have to.
Yeah, go on. This story comes from Kotaku. So basically, the idea is, I remember all the details of the name. Like it's a charity where they do speed runs. They stream them on Twitch.
Yep.
And then people donate money to it.
Which charity is it?
Only one of the best ever. But Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders.
Oh yes.
It's I think it started in France, but it's an international organization of doctors who go to places that need medical care and can't afford it, and they just volunteer.
Like Mississippi.
Like Mississippi, Cambodia, like really just backwater places.
So equally bad.
Yeah,
Cambodia, Mississippi.
So yeah, it's a really great. Like if there's the money you donate, like I guess all charities have to do this except for religions, but you can see where the money goes.
Yeah.
Like they're financially transparent, and you get, I think it's like 98 cents on the dollar goes right into the. Like they have very few overheads.
Yeah, because it's considered pro bono for the doctors who are going. They don't require pay.
Right.
So
nice. your money goes a long way there. It's a really great charity. Anyone that wants to donate to it, if you ever had that urge, you're like, oh, we have people that want to donate to the podcast. Take that money you would have donated to us. Go to this summer.
It's a frontier.
Yeah. Give the Doctors Without Borders through this Twitch gaming marathon. It's fun because you're watching speedruns, which are kind of fun to put on the background anyway.
Yeah.
And when the chat goes nuts, you're like, oh, something just happened. And
yeah.
It's something great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my old news item.
I will tune in. Well, I don't know. We got horrible internet here. Yeah. I would tune in. Tune in for me. Cool. All right, so that's the end of the recent news, and let's move on to gaming experiences.
Gaming experiences.
Dr. Medico!
Dr. Medico!
That was
Let's start with that one.
That was a war cry that we used many, many times. So this game that
I've talked about before on our tabletop episode.
And he recommends it, so I never try to check it out, but I had to this time.
And it's called Sentinels of the Multiverse.
It's super fun.
So fun.
So fun. Like, it's a card game where you get a hero and a pack of cards.
But what if your hero is better than mine? You're going to win.
Well, I'm not fighting against you.
What?
Yeah. It's a co-op game. Right?
Well, who are we fighting against?
We're fighting against evil itself.
I'm on board.
So you've got villain cards. You set that down, just like yours, the hero one, but it plays obviously much better. It's like a raid boss kind of, they have more powerful stuff, a lot of AoE.
And they scale with how many people are fighting them. So like if there's 3 heroes, they do 3 damage. If there's 5, they do 5 damage.
Stuff like that. Yeah. And then they sneeze. Sorry, I'm allergic to bad podcasts. That's what we are. Yeah, so you play these games and you can get different heroes, you get expansion packs. And I had one that had it was a group of 4 people. It was a unique one in that it had 4 crappy characters. Well, 4
minor heroes teaming up.
And so all the cards played off that. It'd be like, oh, if this person is still up and in play, then you can do this power and this power, things like that. So you're more powerful than group 4. And it had a healer for them too, because you can't have low health and no healer.
He's just like a sentient healing energy in human form.
Yeah, but he had a mask.
He was a glowing yellow light with a mask.
Just a glowing yellow body with the mask. You don't want to know who he is. Because in his regular practice, he wouldn't want people to know he's Dr. Medico.
Right. His name is Dr. Medico.
Yeah, he's a glowing doctor. Of course it's Dr. Medico. And you're like, no, he doesn't wear a mask. He's not the superhero.
Dr. Medico wears a mask. This guy, no mask.
Yeah, so clearly not. But, yeah, so it was super fun, though. Dr. Medico was he's really powerful because he just heals all kinds of things, and he has a special ongoing. It doesn't matter. I used him a lot, so I would always call him out.
Every time you use his power, you'd say,
Dr. Medico, which is awesome, especially when you're drunk. So it was funny. It's a thing.
And I was playing Unity, who is a technomancer, and she takes equipment, she takes it apart and makes like a golem out of it, like a machine that fights for her. She was a lot of fun to play.
She like summon creatures, basically. She's a lot of
creatures. Which was an interesting thing because playing a mechanic reminded me of last night. 2 nights ago now. What? Playing a mechanic.
Oh, on Star Wars Edge of the Empire.
Yes.
I GM'd my first session, and it was super fun. Great system.
Yeah,
what a cool system.
Fun to GM for, right?
It's just like that zombie party where you constantly have to think of cool things because it has that disadvantages and those kind of things that are inherent in the dice system. So it'll say something like, okay, he succeeded, but he got 3 threats. Make that make sense.
Yeah, so you can't really prep for that.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're like, okay, this, and end up having like some really sweet consequences.
So now you've GM'd for it. You've played for it before. This is your first time GMing.
Yeah.
So how would you compare like the experience of GMing for 4th edition or 3rd edition D&D versus this?
This is a lot more fun to GM for sure because you don't need as much prep.
Mm-hmm.
And also, yeah, the story writes itself. With that disadvantage system, like that just writes itself. It's fun. And then the only part I would change is we had a chase scene, and the chase mechanics, we're trying to figure this out. It slowed the whole pacing down. The thing was awesome, but then we're running from this like giant sandworm, and it's awesome.
We're on like a speeder, and it's like this dune kind of worm.
Yeah, and they've got gun emplacements, so they're using heavy blaster rifles to be like, and just go to town on it. And everything's great, but it was slowed down a lot. And one factor for sure was we didn't know the rules that well because chase scenes were only a 1 before, so that slowed things down. But 2, I wonder if there's something inherent in the system itself. I don't know. We'll have to look at it, but we'll do another chase scene and figure it out with everyone knowing the rules.
Or we'll just write the Order 66 podcast. They probably have some advice for running chase.
That's what we should do. We'll write the Order 66 podcast. The best Edge of the Empire, or the best Star Wars role-playing game podcast in the multiverse.
It's true, which we defended. Now, the way I prepped for this game, I was thinking about it the other day, because when I prep for D&D, I'm thinking a lot in terms of encounters. I'm thinking of like how many monsters, what's my budget for this difficulty level, and I'm thinking about cool stuff too. Like I want it to be a cool encounter, but a good deal of my processing power, my prep time is going into just like I need this and this level monster. I need a striker, I need a controller, I need all these roles filled. And when I'm prepping for Star Wars Edge of the Empire, here's how I prep. I'll be like taking a walk, and I'll be like, what would be a cool scene? I'm like, that'd be a cool scene. And then like, what would be a cool scene? That'd be a cool scene. Just think of cool ideas I want to incorporate, and then I just
That's what I did too. It yields itself a lot better. And when I DM'd for we had this long running 12-year thing that I DM'd. I say 12-year, that makes it sound we were on and off. Yeah. So there
was like Sam Witwer DMing, where we'd go like a year and have one session, and then another year.
Sam Witwer, future friend of the show, doesn't know it, but he will be.
Yeah, he's a voice actor and he's a cool gamer
and an actor in my favorite movie of all time, The Mist. Okay, so yeah, I also did with that, but it was backwards. Like, so I would think of cool scenes, and then I would take a long time, like getting the right creatures in it, and I still had to fill certain XP bonus. With this, it was just think of cool scenes, and then that way I was also prepared for like the cool triumphs, which means like you did it, but you did it awesomely with an advantage. So it prepares you to think for that too, because you've already fleshed out what it looks like in there. So when you say something like, "Oh, shot goes wild," well, I already had an idea of what's in there. So, it hits the med kits or something like that kind of thing.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of gaming this week. Like we said, JT loves to game. He's a big tabletop gamer.
Yeah.
So
we've been down for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another card game we played, Smash Up is what it's called. It's weird. How would you describe that?
I was gone that time we played it.
Ha!
So
I played Smash
I'd say
Up.
weird would be a good description.
All right. It's
the way you described it was weird because you're like, Tim had this bear. Okay, if you haven't played it, maybe you can feel my reaction to hearing this described. Tim had this bear cavalry, man. When those bear cavalry came out, nothing could beat them. My ninjas on zeppelins, they're really mobile, but the bear cavalry just pushed them out everywhere. They couldn't move.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's meant to be a really silly. Like it takes all the tropes in movies, so like vampires, Call of Cthulhu, ninjas, steampunk, bears, vampires, nightmares, ghosts, zombies, anything, and you pick 2. So you get to what it does is round robin. So you pick your first one. I pick ninjas. And then it's like okay, and all of them are out there. And then it went around the table, and then what was left, I thought, steampunk. I love steampunk. So I picked those 2.
Now you have steampunk ninjas.
Yeah, so I've now got steampunk ninjas. You shuffle them together, and then you just start playing the cards. So they both have different things they do. Like the ninjas do just like they sound. They ninja something away from people. So you put a placeholder card there, and then you play like a huge one on top of it to take an area, to win an objective, is all I have to say. And the steampunk were just, technology, so highly mobile, like with these zeppelins flying around. And Bear Cavalry it was an expansion. It was meant to be silly, so it's a bunch of silly things like killer plants and then bears and like aliens from the future, stuff like that. It was just weird.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
I had a lot of fun.
It was.
It reminded me of Gamma World, where you take 2 random concepts. You're like, you're a swarm of radioactive cats, or like whatever, and put them together. So, interesting. What else do we play?
Lords of Waterdeep,
which we talked about before. It's an award-winning game, very good resource management Euro-style game. What do you think? We played a lot of it. What would you say?
I don't like it so much.
Starting to
just me. And I realized that was just me. Like Tim's parents were still totally on board.
Yeah.
There are other people that are really excited to play. For me, it's just I guess I've played it enough, and maybe it's just not tickling the right part. I'm really not sure because it's got cool elements. It's just for me, it's the wins don't feel like it was because of some master strategy. It feels kind of incidental, and I hate games like that. Like that's why I don't like poker.
Right.
So much of that percentage, that variance, is gobbled up by chance. And when people say it's not, I'm like, no, statistically it is. It's a game of chance. You can maximize the small amount of variance that you have. You can
become really good on that small variance.
in that small variance, but it's chance. It's most of the variance.
Right. Yeah. I saw you weren't. What's interesting is Tim's parents are not gamers. Like they're poker players.
Yeah.
But they don't, and they play like old board games. They're not really gamers, like as far as like playing lots of board games.
Yeah.
And she plays Candy Crush. So,
Candy Crush. Sure.
But so they get down there like, yeah, we'll play, and we had all the expansions that way. It was the most complex. They had like corruption and like, extra stuff and everything.
The Beholder.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, how's this gonna go? But the game, what I like about it is like the design is so intuitive. Like every piece tells you what happens as you play it.
Yeah.
And so after one round, like they were like making power plays. Like Tim's dad was really getting into it, and like his mom got like second place overall that game. Like it was really good for new players to pick up, especially if they're not like used to those kind of style board games like Euro games. It's like a good intro game for people who are like not complex board gamers.
Yeah.
To open up a whole new world, and maybe they'll play Dungeons and Dragons someday. Now that they're in the Waterdeep.
Oh, they will. They must.
They have to. So that's what I like about it. But I'm kind of in the same camp. I've got the app on my phone, and sometimes I'll play when I'm bored. But I always feel like I've mastered this. I guess it's just not that interesting anymore.
Exactly. Like you've mastered that amount of variance you've got control over, and the rest is just sort of like
I've got to where I can win more than I lose, but sometimes you just get a bad hand.
Yeah. So that wraps up our gaming experiences. Next, we'll do our in-depth analysis.